Hey, man.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Who do we have with us here today?
Do you want to do the introductions or you want me to do it?
No, I want you to do
All
it.
right. So we are back in studio, Downtown Impact Studios, downtown Huntington, West Virginia, right? Jeff Stevens is here.
Thank you for that introduction.
Yeah, fresh back from the U.S. Open, apparently.
Well, this is a year older.
Can we turn the volume down on his shirt? Is that something that we could possibly... Anyways, but to not outstage you, do we have a special guest in the studio with us today?
Very special guest.
All right. I mean, we have one and only of these. There's a short supply, and we got the only one. All right. Wade McGlone is in the studio with us.
This is he.
How's it going, Wade?
It's doing well.
Good,
Doing
man.
well. Beautiful day outside.
It is
gorgeous
gorgeous
You can't
day.
beat that, right?
Yeah. Well, dude, thanks for coming down. From what I understand, you live behind the microphone. You're a guy that just loves to...
Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of public speaking in general. The anxiety I suffered preparing for this is... I may pass out right here. I'm not so sure.
So we were joking earlier. You came down before we came up to the studio today, and we were talking a little bit about this. And it's fair to say you're a little anxious, which is kind of different. We have a lot of folks on. We asked a ton of directors. Jeff, how many directors do you know of that said during the regional meetings you polled, would you like to come on the podcast? What was the response on that roughly?
It was, I remember exactly, 51 yes, I would like to, 41 not my cup of tea.
Wow.
So
yeah.
pretty much 50-50.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
I know I was excited about doing it when we had a conversation, but I had a couple drinks at that moment.
Well, that's fair.
So,
Some liquid courage.
I still showed up.
Yeah.
Still showed up.
Well, I appreciate
I'm
that.
here.
I know we joke a lot, but I don't want to take away from the fact that I understand that not only are you busy and you have a lot going on back at the office, but you did take out time to come down here, and it is out of your element, right? I think that's fair to say. So the same. I'm not a golfer, so I touched my mic. I'm not a golfer, but the same way that I wouldn't want to go. Yeah, it's right here. See?
What kind of shirt do you have there?
Well, that's a very clear.
It's a nice design. I like
Thank
that.
you. I honestly have no idea.
Is it a blue sun? Or is
don't
it some
know.
sort of mechanical device?
Well, that's a different
Maybe it's a
interpretation
saw.
of it.
He looks fresh, huh?
It does look good.
Okay,
It
cool.
does look good.
But I wouldn't want to go up and golf in front of everyone because I'm not a golfer, so I can
Right.
understand if this isn't something. But thank you, seriously. I mean that. I know we'll joke
No
a lot
problem,
today,
man.
but I really do appreciate it. So, Wade McGlone, we'll get the little bit of the formality out of the way. Your Village Caregiving, what is your department? What's your title?
I work in the billing department. My title exactly, it could be anything based on the day, but I'd like to say billing director
Okay.
for private pay billing. Basically what I do is I ease the process of billing, receiving payment from people, kind of making it simplified for private pay clients to pay, if that makes sense.
It does. It makes perfect sense. But where I'm most curious about this is take us back to the beginning. All right.
Beginning.
When Wade McGlone first showed up on the scene at Village Caregiving.
How I first heard about it?
Yeah. What was the story? Let's see if this aligns
Well-
with Jeff's memories of this. You got to know Jeff. And,
How I got to know
yeah.
Jeff?
Yeah.
Let's start with the internship.
Oh,
maybe.
the internship. Oh, we're going way back. So high school. So I had the opportunity to be the very first intern for Jeff Stevens and Matt Walker when they were attorneys.
Was there any chance that this story started with you at a koi pond looking at the water?
I don't think so. Am I missing something?
Yes.
Okay.
We were talking about how I was looking at this girl looking at a koi pond and wondering what would happen with her life. Just curious, thinking about what little kids, what would they go on to be they could win the U.S. Open. I said, you never know. Just looking at this kid. It's just, I don't know what he's talking about.
I just didn't
came
know.
out of nowhere.
Well, Megan Wilson from our Beckley office was on the podcast, and Jeff was telling that story that he had seen this child. And I thought where your story started in high school, maybe Jeff had walked by and you were reflecting in a pond, and he said, son, and then whatever.
Let this
Yeah,
man.
go on and tell
Actually,
your story.
specifically, people were so bad about getting the internships that they brought all of the seniors. So take a step back. St. Joe is where we all went to high school.
Okay.
I'm many years younger than Jeff, though you still look
You
great, my
used the
friend.
word
You still
many.
look-
Continue
still look
on.
great.
I'm loving this.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
So they do an internship program. Last 2 weeks, I was going to intern with Jeff and Matt one of the weeks. They bring us all in. It was about 2 weeks before the internships were supposed to start. Nobody had gotten their internships yet. I had lined mine up with Jeff, but I hadn't gotten the paperwork signed. So they brought us all in, all the seniors in, and said, we're canceling it. It's over. It's done. We're not doing it. Good luck.
No
go
intern.
Complain who you want to. Nobody's doing internships because only about 5 people out of 45 had gotten their paperwork done.
Okay.
I said, no, this isn't happening. So I go in. It's about 8, 10 in the morning or whatever. And I pick up the phone, and I had never spoken to Jeff before on the phone. I don't even know how I got his number. And
Okay.
I called him up, and I hear, hello. Said, hey, Jeff, this is Wade, your future intern. He's straight out of law school. I mean, you just graduated.
Did you really introduce yourself as your future intern?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he knew that I was going to be an intern. I don't even know how specifically it worked out. I think I had worked out with Matt, actually.
That's confidence.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I like
I call him up in the middle of the morning, 8:30. He's obviously still been sleeping.
No, you know what? You're not even going to believe this. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but I remember that phone call exactly where I was and what I was doing.
Really?
I was already up, suit and tie on, and walking into the Capitol building, West Virginia State Capitol.
Really?
We were doing government relations at the time. I was walking from the car there on Courier Street to in the building. I remember that.
Oh, so, all right. So you just filled in a part of the story. So that was my initial, can I intern with you? I was going to tell a story about how you had to run down to St. Joe that day to sign the paperwork, and you were not happy about it. Do you remember that?
Because
Nobody
had their paperwork filled out.
done.
I had to come show up.
Right.
Well, that was pretty nice of me, I
Yeah,
gotta
I
say.
know. That's
Yeah,
what I was
look
about
at
to
this
say.
guy.
So I had already secured the internship. I just hadn't had the paperwork signed by Jeff yet because I was being lazy, which is why everybody was in trouble.
I see.
And I called Jeff up first thing, and I said, I need this paper signed immediately. And I'm pretty sure you were sleeping at that point.
I don't
And
know,
you drove
man.
down there. I mean, it was first thing in the morning.
Moral of this story, sometimes internships pay off.
Exactly. So the gist of when village caregiving was brought up to me, I was going into law school, and Jeff had brought me over, and we were hanging out and stuff, and he turned to me and said, hey, would you be interested? Or no, he said, do you even want to be an attorney? Is what he said to me.
Wow.
And I said, not necessarily. I don't know if we had a good wavelength going or maybe I'd been complaining. I'm not sure. But, I said, not necessarily. And he started talking to me about village caregiving, the fact that they work with veterans, which, I'm an Army brat, military guy, growing up through and through, a lot of same values, honor, duty, loyalty. Those things really work for me.
You were raised in Germany.
Raised in Germany,
Right.
5 years, right?
Yeah.
So, my dad's a military guy, my brother's a military guy, whole family's military. So when he offered me an opportunity to work with veterans, give back to veterans, I took it.
Yeah.
So, and here we are, 7 years later.
So you originally go to Charleston, is that right?
Yep,
you were the founding director of our Charleston
Founding
office.
director of
is that right?
Charleston. I think when I started with village caregiving, Barbersville was the only office, and they had, I think, 33 employees was the first payroll that I had done.
Really?
Yeah, 33 employees. So I had interned my final year of law school. So we initially had that conversation going into my 3L year, my last year of law school. And I interned and then started, I think, probably with about 2 months left in law school. I only had 3 days of class, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I was leaving every Thursday to drive back from where I went to law school to work on the building and get things ready for village caregiving to open up.
And so you did it the old village caregiving way, where you lived at the office for a while.
I did.
Right?
I lived at the office. I set up my room in there. I had nothing but a mattress in there when I started working on the building. And for 3.5 years I lived in there.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So that's where I first met you. I was at the Ashland office, and at this point, I think we were office 5 or 6. And so you were one of the original guys.
Yeah. Was I still living in the office
Yeah,
at that
you
point?
were. Yeah,
Oh,
you were
lovely.
still upstairs at the Charleston office.
Grinding it out, right?
Absolutely. And so you were instrumental. That you guys say a lot. This is something that you routinely say at regional meetings, at the annual meeting, is that without the success of Wade in Charleston, Ashland doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
And now it's a little bit different because if, St. Clair, we don't have one of those, but if the St. Clair office doesn't make it, well, there's some lost investment there and stuff. But back in the day, if Charleston didn't make it, Ashland may not come, right? That could have been the end of the road for the expansion of Village Caregiving.
That's totally true. Charleston was the second office, and I mean, that's right. Honestly, I'm not sure. We would have probably opened multiple offices, but I'm not positive that we would have. I don't know. I mean, there's lots of businesses. I have lots of friends that have a business and they have one office, and that's just naturally how it happens.
Sure.
Wade was interested in joining Village Caregiving, had an idea of opening his own office there in Charleston. And to your credit, I really mean this, I remember where I was standing on that phone call too. These are big moments in our relationship and in the company. I was in this sunroom of this house I used to live in. I can vividly remember this. And I remember I'm a pretty straightforward guy. I don't sugarcoat a lot. So I just said, listen, if you're serious about this, I'm open to it, but it won't just be handed to you to have this opportunity unless you earn that. What I would like for you to do is come in, make a presentation to Matt and Andrew and myself, and lay out why this makes sense, goals you would have for it, and take it really seriously. And this isn't buddy time. We're just going to open an office for the heck of it. And Wade 100% did that. Showed up in the conference room, suit and tie on, had a PowerPoint built out, had done a lot of research on the market itself, the home care industry, thoughts for the future. It was impressive. That was the kind of thing that I was like, all right, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And so then we have a second office, and now we're sitting right here. So
absolutely.
Cheers.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, it seemed like a go right from that PowerPoint. Matt's like, all right, well, maybe we should run up to Charleston and see if there's a building there we'd like to get.
Wow.
So I think maybe the next day, Matt and I hopped in the car, and I think he might have had something to do at the Capitol as well, but we drove around and grabbed lunch, and I spotted the building as we were driving past. I'm like, what about that place? And gosh, I think they got it, within a week and a half, I suppose. So
it's funny, our Nashville director, Chad, that's one thing that he really admires about Village Caregiving, the speed at which things can happen here. He kind of talks about that his spouse works for a really large healthcare entity, and sometimes they can be a little slow in decision making and response. This isn't that type of company.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, we're shopping for a building the next day.
Right. I mean, and it's very exciting to work for Village Caregiving because, I mean, that's almost our motto, speed, agility, quickness, hire good people and go from there. I mean, everybody's so good at the job. I mean, what is the amount of directors, admin personnel that have actually left the job since Village Caregiving started? I mean, it has to be below.
Yeah, no,
I don't even know. I mean,
single digits still,
yeah,
I would say, yeah.
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
astronomical.
Everyone seems to just love their job. I mean, I do. So
yeah,
I mean,
well, so that is, I mean, that's kind of a topic that I was wanting to discuss with you. When you came to Charleston, 0 clients, 0 staff, right? When you left, you were there for how many years? 5 or something?
3.
Oh, okay.
Maybe like 3.5, 4, something
how
around
long
there.
you were.
I mean, it's tough because I had taken on a lot of roles as the company was growing. I was doing a lot of stuff for other offices, billing multiple offices, doing payroll for multiple offices. But actually, at working in a position as a director, probably about 4 years, I did that as well.
So that was your baby, right? You raised that thing from birth to 4 years old.
I still check in on it.
Well, that's what I was curious about.
Yeah.
You have done something there that I think is really cool. Probably doesn't get discussed a lot. But you passed that office over to some really capable people, right? Mm-hmm. Originally, Adam Canterbury, who's our director at the Barbersville office, he came in, and then Chris Atkins passed through, and Eddie Logan is there, and all these folks are still with us in different roles within the organization. But you allowed someone else after 4 years to take your baby, and you trusted it. And you've done that with a lot of grace. I've seen you give the Charleston team a lot of praise, a lot of encouragement. So kudos to you for that. How has that experience been for you, watching that office change without you?
I mean, I love it. I mean, I still check in on them. I get excited whenever they have success. I'll do a little side comment to someone about how awesome Charleston is and whatnot, because you still have an affinity for that office and those people. But yeah, I mean, it's been a great experience. I still communicate with some of the clients, especially some of the veterans. Every time I speak to a nurse that's there, I tell them, hey, shout out to, not going to name names, HIPAA violation, don't want to get in trouble over here. But, I still communicate with a lot of the clients. So
awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
So obviously the company's changed a tremendous amount, right? In your time here, every day it kind of changes in some ways. It's as it grows and we add new people to the culture. That recently that was a conversation when you were on the Positively West Virginia podcast about every time that someone gets added to the company that they affect the culture just a little bit. How has things changed for you here at Village Caregiving? When you look at the company back when it was 2 offices to where we are today, what's some of the changes that you can recognize within the organization?
Oh, geez. Not only the company, but me personally have matured quite a bit. I mean, it was, straight out of law school, first job. I'm working with, my buddies. So, I mean, I've had some hard conversations over the years with, partners and other individuals' work, but I mean, gosh, it's all for the better. You got to grow, right? But yeah, the company's changed so much. Now we're built out, huge admin staff, training, for all the directors and all the caregivers, compliance across the board. I mean, it's changed a lot, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a more mature company now. It's not, not to say that we ever were, a mom and pop joint or anything like that, but yeah, we cross our T's and dot our I's.
I got you. So you have, I feel like I've left you out. How are you today?
I'm doing well.
Good.
How are you doing, bud?
Thank you for asking. I'm doing really well. Hey, Wade. Wade's still in the studio with us.
I haven't been left out. I talked for a while.
I just want to make sure you didn't feel left out.
No.
Okay. Do you I don't want to say that, because you did mention how much older Jeff is than you, but in some ways you have maybe played a paternal role in Wade's raising from age 20-something to where he is now. What's your thoughts on the Wade McGlone of today? You've watched him grow from this brand new director with this brand new office to this. He's in an executive role now within the organization. This is your opportunity to really brag on Wade McGlone. Go ahead and take it. Take as long as you need.
Hype video. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You can't put a man like that on the spot.
There's nothing you're proud of?
When you talk about how it's important to have hard conversations, and we've had a couple of those. I remember a couple.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you understand the importance of self-development, self-growth, because really that is leadership. In the podcast that you mentioned that we did earlier in the week, Positively WV, one of the questions was, what do you think for younger entrepreneurs out there is the most important aspect of leadership? There's a million answers you could give to that question about all kinds of things. My answer was, you need to have a curious mind and a true desire to self-improve, self-develop, and grow. And if you are doing those things, it will make your interactions with other people better. They will follow your example and also want to self-develop.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
So all those conversations that I've ever had with Wade, I hope they weren't too contentious, or, we're still friends, right?
Right.
That we're for the better. And honestly, I mean, let's get real here. We go back almost, in this company, even the better part of a decade now. So that's me finding my footing. Whenever I would sit down with Wade and have a hard conversation, full disclosure, I hope I know what I'm talking about, because I'm trying to be a good leader and mentor to you. But it's like, I believe what I'm doing is right, but I'm not sure.
Right.
So I've seen us grow together in that way. And Wade's job specifically is one of the hardest in the whole company. And give you 100% credit for that, because when you're doing the billing and invoicing and collections for the family-funded clients, some of them, let's be real, don't want to pay the bill. It happens in all walks of life. And at our company, the person that has to have that really, really bad conversation with someone that just flat out won't pay you for something you did, Wade has to have that conversation, and it's not fun. He does it well, and I think a lot of the things that you've learned along the way have contributed to doing it very well.
Well, as an example of that, I asked Wade to take a delinquent account, and we're going to call them live on the podcast so everyone can hear.
That would be awesome.
I have 3 calls right now, 3 messages on my phone.
I was going to say, it won't be hard to find one.
Let's go ahead and just get that on speakerphone.
Oh, I mean, it's not terrible. The thing is, you build relationships with these people, and you work with them. The ones that I really don't enjoy is not particular clients. It's the long-term care insurance companies. So the clients have, this policy. We're billing the policy's reimbursing the family.
I see.
They're not wanting to reimburse the family. I'm sure everyone here has had their experience with an insurance company and, getting them to pay out a policy. So those are the people that, I can get with the clients and we can team up and get them and make sure, they get paid. So that's the real difficult stuff. But it's after years of, coming from a director role, you get used to working with clients. So
I'm really glad you hit on that, because something that's very unique to Village Caregiving, and I hope this is something that can last forever, because that means I'll get to keep a job for a long time. And sometimes that's questionable, Jeff tried to fire me Thursday for what? It's just things that happen. But the fact is that a lot.
The bad jokes?
Yeah, it's mainly the jokes that get me. A lot of folks that are in executive positions within the organization are folks that ran offices. And so a lot of times you're giving guidance, you're having conversations, you're helping directors navigate scenarios that you've navigated yourself, because as you said, you were a director, you also did billing. When I came to the company, we billed our own private pay. It's centralized now. So how does that translate when a director, you're on the phone with the director and things are tough, this has went wrong or whatever. How is that really beneficial to you to be able to relate and
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I don't necessarily know from my position, but from their position, I mean, I work better with people who have been through the exact same thing. I mean, it's kind of annoying, I would say, to, hear someone chirping at you about how you should be doing something when they've never done it themselves.
Sure.
Or haven't had the experience. So I think that's one of the most beneficial things in the company. I mean, pretty much everybody on the executive team ran an office themselves, so they've done every aspect of the business. So, knowing, it's not just A to B, which is your issue. They know A all the way to D. So the person on the executive team could tell you why.
Sure.
Why we're trying to do this, why we're speaking to this, because it may not be that direct interaction. It's something down the line that they're going to be needing aware of.
Yeah. So. Our general counsel, Andy Hess, he used to have this motto where he would say that we're very director friendly. And Wade, I think I've seen you several times when your department is implementing changes or updating processes. You're always being mindful of, like, when I was a director, if I had to do this, this wouldn't have. So everything that we're doing kind of is hopefully common sense based. Mm-hmm. There isn't a lot of fluff to it. There isn't a lot of missteps or extra things. It is director friendly. And have you intentionally built your department out that way?
Yeah, I think so. There's not a whole lot that, for example, when we have a private pay intake form, we have new private pay. The private pay intake form is built for everything that I need straight down the line, how I need to import it, the information they need, and in the order that it needs to be done.
Sure.
And I built it that way to help myself and help them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Jeff, how you doing over there?
You know what time it is.
Is it that time already?
It is.
Wade, occasionally, Jeff, through, I don't know, some level of madness, he comes up with these thoughts, sometimes questions, sometimes statements. And those somehow leave his brain and end up in a place that we refer to as the fishbowl.
The fishbowl.
Yeah, and that's what this guy is right here. So wait, I'm going to do you a favor, all right? I'm going to pull something out of here that is the same as if I was reaching into Jeff Stevens' head right now and pulling an idea, thought, or question, okay? And so
Scary place.
it is. Have you ever wondered when you're at the ocean and you encounter a jellyfish and recognize that this particular item doesn't have a brain or a heart? Have you ever sat there and pondered that jellyfish and thought, are you even an animal?
That went through your brain?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
A jellyfish doesn't have
It
a
has
brain.
it's a central nervous system, right? Isn't it like a brain throughout type thing?
There's no brain or heart in this thing.
Really?
Are you for sure?
I'm sure. It's almost all water. Is that an animal? What the hell is that thing?
I don't know. It's as much an animal as a plant, I suppose.
Is it a plant? Is a jellyfish a plant?
Maybe it is more of a plant than an animal. There has to be something to do with the reproductive system, or something along those lines that classify it as an animal.
I've got you thinking about it. That's why it's in there.
Okay. I mean, do you research these things as well, or you just like throw them out random thought?
Yeah,
we're gonna go for it.
Sadly, I do not.
Okay.
A lot of the research is done in this moment, is what I want you to understand. And so we could probably change the classification of a jellyfish on this podcast.
That blows my mind. I mean, I've never had an instance like this where I didn't immediately pull out my phone
Yeah.
and Google it. I mean, how do you live like this? You have your thought, you throw it in the fishbowl, and I'm not going to touch it again until we have a podcast.
Yeah.
Have you ever been attacked by a jellyfish?
No, I don't think so.
I was at Hilton Head one year, and we were floating in the ocean, deeper than waist deep. Like I was up in the water, and Danielle and the kids were there. Another couple was there with their kids, and everyone's just having a good time. And all I can explain to you is that a flash of light went across my face. Okay, there may have been
Really?
in a brief moment I may have died, but I understand this is going on the podcast. And I don't even care to say this. I screamed in a manner that scared my wife and children. It scared me. It scared people on the shore. But when I say I saw pain, is what I'm saying.
You saw pain.
Yes, that's what that flash of light was. Okay.
You were stung by a jellyfish, which
No,
caused your life to flash.
Absolutely not. I was
before
not
your-
stung. I was attacked by a jellyfish. There is a difference, okay? A bee can sting you. This thing wrapped itself around my leg.
Like you're saying that it had intent. It was coming after you.
Well, it had, I don't know, a gazillion gallons of water to float in. It chose the gallon where my right foot was. So that seemed intentional. The point of the matter was, though, and I don't want to disparage my wife on this podcast, okay, because I love her deeply.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, but she left me there in the water. And because they thought that a shark had attacked me. To my credit, they thought the shark had me. I won't.
They deserted you. You screamed, and they deserted
yeah,
you.
I mean,
Saved
literally,
themselves.
give me a Bible. I would swear on this. I was not sure my leg was still there. It hurt so bad.
Would you stop?
I'm not exaggerating. So then I see my son floating.
Your leg wasn't there.
I thought it had been taken. Okay.
Okay.
And so
It's a little dramatic.
Yeah.
I don't.
So just a little bit. I mean, I know you're not in your element. You're in the ocean. That is not your land. But I mean, it's a jellyfish.
Okay, well, you'd already said you haven't been attacked by one, so you don't understand.
Get one more.
No. Well, anyways, when it came,
They seem so nice in the
when it
Finding
came to
Nemo
shore,
movie, right?
it about
The point of this is the thing that he thought he lost his leg to might not even be an animal. We don't even know what it is.
according to you, it's a marigold.
All right.
Let me ask you a question, Wade. Okay. Sometimes when I follow you down the interstate after work, okay, I'll be behind you and
Overtime.
it starts paying extra now, so we're in good shape. Okay. But I'm following you down the interstate, and I'm driving behind you in your vehicle, and I notice that you don't have this, so you may not know the answer to this. But then I move over to the left lane to pass you, and the car in front of me has the decal from the car lot where they bought their vehicle. Do you ever wonder why they leave those on there?
Would never leave it on. I take it off immediately every time.
I agree, but not go out today and drive around. Every car has the name of the dealership where they bought it on there. It's just a driving around a billboard. You wouldn't do that for any other company.
I have purchased cars before and told them, before I pull off the lot, you will take that off my car.
Look at this guy.
I have too, actually, and I saw a guy out there doing it with a hair dryer, which I thought was weird. I guess it loosens up the sticker.
Sticky.
Yeah.
Why does that bother you?
It doesn't bother me. I just think that it's a weird thing that you've really, I mean, let's be real. You've been duped into being a driving billboard for a company. Wouldn't you like to have a Village Caregiving sticker on 15,000 cars driving around?
Well, if you got me the stickers, we could do it. It would take me a while.
All you'd have to do is sell the car. Apparently, you wouldn't take it off.
That's what I'm thinking. We know that it would never come off. What do you think's the craziest bumper sticker you've ever read?
Craziest bumper sticker I've ever read. I'm not so sure that there's one in particular. It's the people who drive, like what is that called? Like an Element with like 50 stickers all over the back of their car, and they're driving that, box down the road.
I know what you're
going
talking.
95 miles per hour. Like, I find that crazy in, itself.
That's very strange for you. Do you have a favorite bumper sticker, one that really stands out?
Nope.
You have nothing?
Nothing.
Well, how much money would I have to pay you to put a bumper sticker on your truck? A lot?
Yes.
What about for this podcast?
It's pretty self-serving. I wouldn't like that image.
I'm just kidding. Well, Wade, I have great news. You've survived the podcast.
Survived it.
The anxiety, the
I didn't
worry.
pass out or anything.
You did awesome, man. Would you come back?
Probably.
Probably.
It wasn't that bad.
That's
All right.
a hard
Cool.
probably.
That's a hard probably. Well, awesome. Wade, we appreciate it. As always, it's a pleasure to hang out and talk with you. You got anything?
I'm out of coffee. You told me that if I drank too much coffee, I was going to have to use the restroom during this, and you were
Here
exactly
we are.
correct.
All right. Wade,
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.